Everyone loves koalas, right? They're cute, cuddly, and integral to Australia's cultural identity. But it may not be known that koalas are quickly facing the threat of extinction in our increasingly urbanised world, with habitat loss currently being the biggest threat to koalas. Today, we aim to delve further into this issue and talk to a few individuals familiar with the subject to gain a better understanding.
I'm Nelson Wills. I'm a director with Newground Environmental.
So, Nelson, how would you best describe what an environmental planner does?
There are different types of environmental planners, but in my case, it's really around a combination of environmental impact assessment and environmental planning assessment for various projects, whether they're land development projects, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's conservation projects. So it's that kind of fusion of assessing environmental impacts of activities and understanding the environmental planning requirements that underpin approvals processes for those projects.
G'day, my name's Mike. I'm the Vice President of Moreton Bay Koala Rescue.
How often do you actually rescue koalas?
In mating season, which goes from August to March, the busiest I've ever had was 7 rescues in a day. However, in where we are now, which is not in the mating season, I've gone 2 weeks without a call.
My name's Tim Portis and I'm the Wildlife Veterinary Director here at RSPCA Queensland's Wildlife Hospital.
Hey Tim, thank you so much for speaking to us today. So how often do you receive koalas here at the RSPCA?
We receive about 500 koalas a year over the last few years. 2019-2020 we saw over 1,000 koalas coming in each year, so we get upwards of 1 to 2 koalas every day, but there's a very seasonal nature to the intake. So during breeding season, which runs from kind of July through to about January, is when we get most of our koalas coming in. So the kind of first half of the year, autumn and winter, is usually quiet, and then as winter tapers off, koalas start coming in, and we can get up to 10 a day during that busy time.
Do you think urbanisation has had a major impact on koala welfare? And what have you seen in relation to this trend reflecting your work?
So here in southeast Queensland, it's obviously a very rapidly urbanising area. Development, which results in the loss of habitat and fragmentation of habitat, has a huge impact on koalas. I mentioned previously that we see a lot of trauma, and that typically is animals that are being hit by cars or attacked by dogs, and that happens in the breeding season. Males are out looking for females, so they cross roads to get to other areas of habitats, or they end up in backyards, and that's where they get hit by cars or attacked by dogs.
So Nelson, when working with new clients on projects, what are some of the key things your organisation considers in regards to environmental conservation?
So we primarily consider the environmental planning context of the property and what the requirements are for the given land use, given those planning designations, but also, and as importantly, we consider the site's actual value from an ecological point of view. So the types of habitats, the types of species that are there or likely to be there. And we mesh the two considerations in advising proponents as to how to proceed.
To close off, what can we do to help your conservation and rescue efforts? Do you have any messages for the public?
Awareness is a really important thing. Education is really important so that people understand that their actions do have an impact on the broader biodiversity context in which they stand.
You know, if people are mindful of the speed that they're doing during koala breeding season, particularly if they live in an area where koalas are present, being mindful about containing or controlling their dogs during breeding season as well, they're probably things that can certainly help. Other things that are helpful to us are if people have properties and they have eucalypt on those properties, being able to access them for browse collection is another thing that would be really useful for us. So there's a range of things that people can do, and I guess lobbying government as well around making sure that development happens in an environmentally sensitive and appropriate way.
There needs to be far more areas set aside as non-urbanised, so no housing goes on them, no developments, no nothing.
Well, we've learned a lot and gained much insight into the issue of habitat loss and urbanisation affecting koalas. There's no easy fix to this problem, with everyone bringing up very good points. But helping the koalas survive could start with more integrated wildlife and urban areas, and supporting causes like the Moreton Bay Koala Rescue and RSPCA. And maybe one day, koalas won't have to face the threat of extinction.